required for that particular situation is loaded. It will not load the complete library. This makes application more lightweight. This makes application more faster perform faster. It takes less time for loading, and it will be more lightweight for various types of environments. So it is an component based. What do you mean by component based? I will show you what is component based. That I will tell you in the architecture how it is component based. We will discuss about that. But a basic overview about component based means nothing but actually component based means usually what happens is, so we have a library. We have a library. This library contains a set of functions. And what we do is the library functions, this library of functions are injected into services. This detailed architecture I will tell you later, right? Here we are just understanding the advantages. That means from the library, the functions are injected into services. Actually, application contains several services. It comprises of several services. It contains a lot of services. For different functionality, different services are present. When we are developing an application, actually application contains only one page, index.html. Application contains only one page, index.html. Means it starts with only one page. User will stay on only one page. Now what happens is we design components. Every component, detailed architecture you will see in the practice, we will see that. Every component contains HTML, it contains CSS, and it contains the functionality. And the functionality is in TypeScript. And additional whatever the functionality you need, you don't need to write. Instead of writing the functionality, what you can do is you can get the functionality from the service. So you can get the functionality from service, writing the functionality. So that means this is service 1. And you want that functionality in, you can inject it. That means the services are injected into component as per the requirements. That means for that component, for that situation, it needs service 1. It will use only service 1. We have service 2, service 3, service 4, so many are there. So many are present. It will use only that is needed for it. And this component injected into the application. This component is injected into application. That means we design such components. And these components are used in our application. That means entire Angular application is built with components. It can have different services according to its functionality. according to its requirements. It can use different services, and these are injected into our application. That means instead of loading all of them, it will load only that is required for that situation. So technically, component based means it is a combination of several components. Components gets the functionality from services. Services gets the functions from library, right? This is the basic approach. In detail architecture, you will see that how it is going to run and work, we will understand. So I just explained this point to make you understand what is meant by component based. And what is meant by modular. Modular means only that is required for that particular situation is loaded instead of loading everything. If everything is loaded, then we call it as legacy. So it will not load everything. It will load only that is needed for that particular situation, right? That is what actually Angular. Angular is modular. Angular is component based. Angular is more faster than AngularJS. Another important is Angular supports differential loading. I'm talking about all the features of Angular. That means the current version. So the current version of Angular is Angular 9. Angular 10 is just under a pre-release. It's not a stable release. So current version of Angular is Angular 9 stable release. And up to Angular 9, what are the key features that I am giving here, points? In every Angular version, what features introduced? I will tell you once we start working with it, right? Because without knowing what is there in Angular, we can't differentiate between versions of Angular, right? The point is, Angular supports differential loading. Differential loading means, differential loading is nothing but, so that it is an ability, so that means which can maintain separate library, which can maintain separate library for legacy browsers and modern browsers. Legacy browsers means old version browsers, and legacy browsers means, remember one point. So legacy browsers support HTML4, HTML up to 4 version, and ES, that means ECMS script, right? JavaScript. So ES up to 5. ES up to 5. That means they will not support ES5 and ES6 advanced. So that means and up to 5, ES5. These are called legacy browsers. Then what happens is, when our application goes on to these browsers, so many technical issues will come, compatibility issues will come. To avoid that, our Angular maintains 2 libraries. One library for legacy browsers, another library for modern browsers. Actually, modern browser Modern browser is nothing but